Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. Today I'm bringing you 5 more base spots on Extinction in the Sunken Forest. This is aimed mainly at bigger tribes. On this episode we also have a mixture of official and unofficial spots, and on the official spots I'll show you how to build on official and on unofficial. Just want to quickly say thank you for all your nice comments you guys have been leaving me as well. I'm glad some of these videos are helping you guys out. If you are enjoying the videos, please don't forget to leave a like, and if you're new around here, consider subscribing. It's a nice place to be. I'll also link my quick guide playlist in the description for those of you who want to see that. And like always, let me just throw the disclaimer out there that I'm not the best builder in the world. And of course, there may well be better ways to build these bases. I just want to show you guys how I would build them and to give you an idea. Now, element's pretty easy to get on Extinction, so I've tailored that to this guide and I've used maybe more tech turrets than if we were on a different map. But anyway, I really hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it. Coming in for our first location, it's an unofficial spot, but it's a nice little hidden base. So the coordinates are approximately 17.7, 7.4. Here it is on the map, and you guessed it, this spot's in the ceiling, so as you get to this spot, you want to fly straight up. It's just above the river, and you can also look out for that big blue thing there. Just up above you is one of the entrances to come down to the forest, like where we built earlier where I showed you. But anyway, there's going to be this big old like straight cliff ledge hanging down. You're going to want to fly up that, and you can see another one of those weird ribcage things. Now one of these you can get inside of. It's a nice little tiny entrance. It's big enough for people, it's big enough for Trandons, but not a lot more. Now when inside, you've got quite a bit of room as you can see, but it is not flat, so this is going to be a very awkward thing to try and build. If you can layer this out well with different levels, you're going to have yourself a nice little spot, but you can't build it with foundations. So let me show you a little trick quick. If you can get a cliff platform down on it, you can then build your foundations on the cliff platform and coming off of the cliff platform. Then once you destroyed that platform, the original foundations should stay there. So I reckon we have a little go and see how well we can make this base. So, we've opted for a nice little tower hanging down outside this base. This is going to stop people from getting too close and just throwing carbon enemies out at the entrance. This also gives us a nice little spot to land our flyers on, because otherwise it can be a little bit awkward to land here. The reason why I've only opted for a little tower there is because when you come out front past these leaves, you still can't really see the base. You can obviously expand out with more towers, but when just starting out, that's personally how I would build it. As you can see, we're nowhere near the turret limit for this spot yet, so there's always plenty of room to expand if you need to. So as you move up to the entrance of the base, you can see I've chucked a couple more turrets up there. That's mainly in case people get past your tower down below without soaking it. If they do, they're already going to be pretty injured and these should just finish them off. Now it can be pretty awkward to get up here the first time, but we've done that on purpose because now it's harder for people to get in. Now you can see as soon as we're inside, there's more turrets. We've got a nice little wall there. I've also chucked turrets everywhere else where I don't need to put anything. So as soon as anyone gets inside this base, they're going to be getting shot from all angles. So as you're going to see in a minute, I don't have any more room up higher, so I've just chucked my bed down here. It's still behind a lot of turrets and doors, so it shouldn't get destroyed very easily. If I just ghost into the wall here quick, you can see I put some air conditioners down, so we've got a nice little hatchery area over here. Then as we come up, we've got our fridges. I thought I'd put them near the hatchery area for our eggs. We've also got our indie forge in the corner, which we can access. Then just chucked a couple more turrets down on the edge of the hatchery area. So coming over to the other side, we have a nice little crafting station. We've got all the chem benches that we'll need, as well as 4 smithies and 3 fabricators. Now this base doesn't really have room for a replicator. Obviously if you built it different you could, but I've tried to use the room up for other things that I feel like are more important early on. So as we come up onto our next level, chucked all our vaults down. All of these you can get through and access. So this should be plenty of storage to keep you going to start with. Then as we come up onto our final level, you can see I've chucked a few more turrets down. Then we've got all our cryo fridges. And I've also chucked down a final vault just for all our most important things. So obviously all our best bits will be going up the top here, just in hopes that if people get in, these last few turrets will help keep them out. So that's our number 1 spot. Let's take a little look at number 2. Coming in at number 2, we have another little hidden spot with a surprising amount of room. So we're at approximately 9.6, 20.4, and what we're going to be looking for is this big old tree root with the ribs around it. So I guess this spot technically has more than one entrance, but they all come from underneath, so really you're coming in the same spot every time. Now most of this area up here you can put cliff platforms on, and as you can see the only way in is from down the bottom there. This makes it a nice easy spot to defend. Now this base can be built on official easily enough, but it's obviously better on unofficial, so I'll show you an official example and then an unofficial example. So as you can see, we've stayed very hidden from the outside. But then as soon as anyone comes inside, they are nicked. So I've done this with 3 cliff platforms. And all I've done is hung pillars down and put ceilings and hatch frames on with turrets. This is such a simple way of building, but if you only have to defend from below you, it can be so OP. So because of the collision unofficial, I've had to layer these cliff platforms slightly, which means you've had to do it with ramps. There's a nice little platform that you can put a tech jenny on. So as you can see, this doesn't look too bad with the ramps. It's not the neatest spot in the world, but it's a pretty sizable spot. There's plenty of room, there's not too many of you in your tribe. It's a little bit awkward to chuck another cliff platform down higher on official, but there is a spot you can get it if you need a bit more space. Doesn't look too out of place really. Now over the side with the entrance, there's a couple of little squares where it will say you're too high above ground. This doesn't cause too much of an issue however though, as long as you build it in the right place. It's literally just this little bit here where you can see through the crack. So as you can see, it's a nice OP hidden spot with plenty of room. So let's try it on an unofficial build. So I've turned building collision off, and as you can see, I've still opted to stay pretty hidden because the defences from the inside are so OP. You can stick cliff platforms around the outside here if you want to be bigger and defend more. So as we come inside, you can see it's a very similar layout, it's just a little bit neater. So you can see as soon as anyone tries to come from any of these angles, they're going to get hit hard. Tracked a few more turrets down on the unofficial, as I guess if you're on an unofficial server you'll probably have access to more turrets. And on this one, because we can build it better, I've put the entrance in the middle, because I feel like that's going to be harder for people to try and get into without soaking the turrets. So as we're coming up to the entrance of the base, you can already see more turrets hanging down, and this is just going to solidify the base. Once we get inside, there's a lot more turrets shooting down. We've also got 2 more cliff platforms for extra space. So you can see I've easily fit a replicator in here, along with a little crafting station. And these cliff platforms are well out the way, so that they're not causing issues down here. As you can see, you could even extend this for the whole length of the base there. But I've just done a little one to give you a bit of an example. So I haven't put anything on this first cliff platform, but you easily could do. On the second cliff platform, where we've got all the turrets, I've chucked all my best stuff, so we put a couple of vaults and some cryo fridges down. I've also put my bed up here. You could probably even have your replicator up here if you wanted to. You don't really need the fences on the outside like I've put them, but I just like the look of them. So as you can see, under the base you can easily fit a cliff platform for more turrets, although it'd be easy to line of sight them with all the environment around here. So if I was going to do another tower outside, I'd probably put it around this kind of area. It's just going to cover most angles this way. Coming in at number 3, we have a spot that I've used a lot of times. We're at approximately 11.3, 27.5. And of course it's Extinction Sunken Forest, so it's going to be up high. It is just above the big circular island. That's the way I always remember it. The entrance to this forest is up there. Come to this island, and it's up in the far corner. So as you come up to this corner, you're going to see a little ledge, and this drops back into a pretty big area. It's a flat area, so it's good if you're not used to building as much. Has a nice little spot back here, but that can only be used for unofficial on that bit really. Probably the weakest spot for this base is that it has this little ledge down here. It doesn't affect it too much, but if it wasn't there, it would be a lot easier to defend. So this spot can be used for official, so I'll show you an official build first. Now I wouldn't prioritise it over the actual base defences, but as soon as I could prioritise it, I'd put a little tower out here. Even if it's only from a normal generator and heavies, because if someone's going to fob on you, that's where they'll fob. So on official, I would utilise just little 1x1 turret towers, and just hang them over the edge like this. I'd also consider building another one around there. These look over the edge really well and stop people from getting too close. I've also hung another just couple of turrets over the edge. Now I've brought a turret wall forward a little bit here so I could fit more turrets on it, and I built it with pillars. It was a little bit easier on official building with pillars than it does walls. As you see, we get a good amount of turrets on there. It would be safer setting them back a little bit, but I just wanted to get as much turrets on there as possible, and we had more room further forward. You can see people can get through here, but they're not going to be C-spinning with a Triandon, it will just die. Now, that is the only area I could fit an Indy Forge on official. I tried to fit a replicator there, but I couldn't, even when I sunk the foundations. So if you're going to put an Indy Forge in there, that's where it will be. Depending on what generator you have, you can also chuck a turret or two up here to help defend. And you can still fit a little room at the back with a bed in. You can't quite wall it all in. but it'll be good enough to spawn on if you're getting raided. So let's have a little look at an unofficial build. So as you can see, on unofficial, you can get a much stronger build going on from the outside. So on the left, I've chucked a cliff platform down with a load of turrets hanging off of it. I've also done the same on the right. On unofficial especially, cliff platforms are always your friend. Now this is the first space where I've used up the 100 turret limit, but personally, as soon as I could, I would spam out all around here with extra cliff platforms and put spikes in them or whatever you need to put on them. And this is going to make it a lot harder for people to build around and build up to your base and soak it on foot. Really, you want to make it so people's only option is to Quetzal raid this. So as you can see, it's a really strong tower here that's going to defend from every angle. Then on the right hand side of the base, I've chucked down another cliff platform with big pillars hanging down and little turret towers off of that. This helps protect from the right hand side completely. As we come closer to the base, you can see I've put fences the whole way around it. Now this is mainly to try and stop gas bags from getting too close. And we've also got turrets either side of the fences, so no matter how someone tries to get out with a gas bag, they're going to get shot either way. In the little crevice in the wall here, I've put another little turret tower and I've hidden my tech generator inside that, and that's going to power these outside turret towers. So as we come inside the base, you can see there's a nice little area out here for whatever you want to do, whether it be breeding or just storing a couple of dinos on. We've got a big turret wall which we set back a little bit further this time. This is a lot stronger and unofficial, as you can see. We've built it with walls and pillars. And really, if your external turret towers do the job, these turrets shouldn't need to shoot a bullet. So as you come into the base, we've got a double door, partly for protection, but mainly because it makes the wall look neater from the inside. Chucked a little hatchery area down here with air conditioners. And I've lined all this lower area with our vaults. This is good for space. You could also drop more vaults on top of that. Put a replicator down, some cryo fridges. We can easily get our indie forge up there. We could get more there if we wanted to. And our crafting station with some fridges. Then as we come up higher, we've got a little tower with just 3 turrets on, just in case anyone gets in. These can help shoot. We've put our main tech genny right at the back there, so it's going to be hard for people to destroy. Again, we've chucked our bed down behind the indie forge right at the back. And we've also chucked another vault in here this time. This could either be to store some of your best stuff or just to store a kit in case you're getting raided and you need another kit quick. But as you can see, there's quite a lot of room in here. It's not the biggest space in the world, but if you're smart with it, there'll be plenty of room for you and your tribe mates. Coming in at number 4, we have the biggest spot on this list, but with bigger spots often come harder defences. This base technically has 4 entrances, but don't let that put you off, it's still very much defendable. So we're at about 28.1, 3.1. I'll show you where it is. So there's the entrance to the Sunken Forest. This is one of them streams that go up. Once you follow the stream, you'll come to a waterfall. Up in our top left is a base we built in the last episode. If you haven't seen that, be sure to go check that out. As you get past the waterfall, you'll look up and there'll be another one of these big rib cages. So one of the entrances, possibly the smallest one, is in the far left of this. There's then another small entrance in the middle, just up in that crack. Then the biggest main entrance is up in this far corner. And then this is the base area. So as you can see, it's an absolute huge area. The 4th entrance is then nearly in the same place, up through some tree roots. You keep following that up. Eventually that will lead to a small entrance that comes out right at the top of the base. So I'll show you the build on official first. As you can see, as you first look at the base, you can't really see a lot, because obviously this is high up again, you can't build things too high on official. So as you come up into the smallest entrance in the far corner, you can see we're met by another chandelier, all facing down at that entrance. This is a very awkward thing to try and run, because as you can see, you can't climb up things. So you'd probably need to be on something like a gas bag at the entrance to get up here, which is going to be awkward in itself because there's not a lot of height around here. So this is going to absolutely obliterate anyone coming in at this entrance. So as we move further up into the base, you'll see up to our right there's another big tower hanging down. Now this is mainly to protect this little entrance directly below it, but it also works really well to protect the whole base if anyone gets in from any other way. This is going to shoot pretty much the whole base if you have your turrets on high. And again, where it's high up, people are going to struggle to get that high. As you come to the biggest entrance, you can see I've put a little tower down here because there's a nice little platform that you can build on. Again, this shoots out across the whole entrance. This makes it very difficult to get up again. Now up here you can place a cliff platform, but there's only a few areas on this that you can build on where it counts where it's below that last tower down there. If you look on the right here, you can't actually build, but on this side you can, so you could also hang a few more turrets down here if you wanted to. So as we get into the main area of the base, you see we can put cliff platforms all the way around here, which is really handy. So all this ribcage counts as floor, so as long as you're building above the ribcage, you should be fine. This little thing I've put here would be very ideal to hang another turret tower off of, because like the other high chandelier, this is very central to the base, and if anyone was to get in, it would shoot them from everywhere. You could then layer the whole base out with these cliff platforms. You could obviously build it however you want, so you have a little dino area, crafting area, however you want. So as we come up the top to the last entrance, you can see I've hung another little turret tower down. You'll struggle to get another turret tower in another spot here. You can build on the left there, but you're going to struggle a little bit because it won't be above the ground very well. But this one works fine. As you can see, it covers most angles really. So that's just another basic cliff platform with turrets hanging all around it from every angle. And this will easily stop most things coming up as they have to come from straight from below. So the unofficial build for this base is pretty similar, but instead of hanging the turret towers inside, I've hung more on the outside on every entrance. So because this base is so big, the turret limit resets, so depending on how big your tribe is, you could have so many turrets around here. So the first entrance just has a big hanging tower just below the entrance. Then as we actually come up into the base, straight away you can see there's more turrets there, and I've built a little turret wall just on the entrance there. Haven't got the best angle for it, but we've still got about 7 or 8, maybe 10 turrets there, and that is going to be plenty to keep people out, or at least enough to stop them from seeing in. So as we come to the next entrance in the middle, you guessed it, we've hung another little tower below it. I know they're all very similar designs, but they're so OP, it would be stupid not to build these. There's not really a lot to say about it, it's similar to the other one, apart from it's going to keep the people out. The only thing I would suggest is maybe put some turrets on top of the cliff platform as well, in case people get past it on a gas bag. Then, on the big entrance, you guessed it, we've hung another turret tower down there. We haven't had to use that ledge as we did in official, so it's a lot more beefy with a turret tower. Then, as we come in under the fourth entrance, you can see straight away as soon as you look up, we've got 2 more towers up there. One of them is a big tower covering pretty much the whole area, and another one is right up in the corner, just trying to cover a bit of the blind spot of this big tower. Again, almost identical designs, just with pillars, ceilings and hatch frames. And again, where people have to come directly from below, this makes this spot very OP. As we come up to the entrance, I've also put a big death wall up here as well. I put a wall here because if I was raiding this spot, this would be the side I'd want to come from. Because once I'd got past whatever defences were behind me, I would then be on some solid ground, and I could even put a fob down, and then I could use ground dinos to soak. So obviously remember to put a door or 2 on your wall, just so in case you need to defend from it. So as we come to the main part of the base, you can see I've laid it out pretty similar to official. Differences on this one, you can get the cliff platforms to snap better together. If you also look over into the bigger entrance, you can also snap this on official as well, but you can set a whole cliff platform on top of this little route. Now you can build whatever you want with this, maybe a big hanging tower. And as you can see, the possibilities are endless on unofficial. You could layer these out of cliff platforms as much as you want. So finally, coming in at number 5, we have an unofficial spot, but possibly the most OP spot on the Sunken Forest. So the coordinates are about 14.1, 27.5. And again, the way to find this is from the big round island in the middle of the forest, surrounded by water. There's the entrance of the forest. When you're at that island, you want to fly pretty much straight up. And as you can see directly above me, there's a big crack.
Nice.
Now, to the untrained eye, this might look like nothing. But remember what I've been preaching the whole video about if people have to come from below you, it's very OP for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to deck this whole area out of cliff platforms and see what we can make of it. So as we look up, we can see already it's looking pretty scary. I've chucked a hanging tower below the main base. This is just to stop people from getting too close to the main base straight away and soaking them turrets. The only thing I will say about these hanging towers is get it low enough so that if people do soak them, they can't soak your main turrets from this cliff platform. We don't want to make it easy for our raiders. So as we come up into the main base, you can see I've made it very similar to that tree base. So it's just decked out with cliff platforms, and we've just hung turrets all the way around it. All these turrets have good angles, so they can shoot pretty much directly down. So whatever angle anyone comes from, they're going to get absolutely torn. Another thing I'd say with spots like this, to irritate the raiders as much as possible, is to mix up your turrets. So maybe have some of them on medium range, some of them on high range, then mix some up with just survivors, some on all targets obviously because of corrupt dinos, then maybe some on survivors and mounted creatures. This is just going to delay them as much as possible because some turrets will be shooting sometimes, not at other times. So as we get inside the base, you can see there's a surprising amount of room. You can easily fit indie forgers and replicators in here. You could even build this a little bit lower if you needed more room, then do 2 floors. But personally, the way I see it, this should be enough room. At this height, you can just about fit a Giga in here as well. So if you can fit your Giga, you can fit pretty much anything in here. Well guys, that's going to wrap it up for this guide. If you have enjoyed it or it's helped you out, please don't forget to leave this video a like. These videos take a long time to make, as well as a lot of brain power to design the bases, which I don't have. Thank you very much for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.